Shut up and sit down.
It's where the big boys play. SICW.
All right, roll it.
All right. Welcome to Square Week Podcast, everybody. Episode 80. We're getting old.
We're only a year or so into this, and 80 episodes isn't too bad. I mean, I know a lot of other podcasts that's been going on much longer and haven't reached, in our short of time, I think we reach more podcasts than some of the other ones that I know. But a few things I would like to talk about this episode. I guess we'll start off with some bad news. Clearly, there's no gold behind Bobby, and there's no gold behind me anymore. So we'll just drop the bombshell. Me and him both lost our belts this past weekend.
Would you call that the Nasty Nate curse because I bragged about it last week?
I'll go with that. Yeah, so it's all because of you.
We're going to have to put a boot up his backside then.
But we'll get more about in those matches here in a little bit. My first topic that I want to talk to is, everyone knows that we are both Belleville all three of us are Belleville natives. And Raw, WWE Raw is in town tonight. And I don't know if you two had tried to get tickets or not. I wasn't even going to try to get tickets because I just heard the prices was just crazy. My oldest son tried, and he said that when you click on the ticket price, it was like $50, $60 or something like that for the tickets for just the cheaper seats. But after you get done with all the fees that they tack on, it was damn near $100 a ticket. And I told him, I said, don't worry about it. I said, there's plenty of, shows that we can go to. But this was a couple of weeks back, too. So it wasn't that he tried today to get tickets for tonight. But watching Bad Blood over the weekend, it amazes me. And some other podcasters have talked about this already, too, earlier today that I've seen. It seems like WWE is just money hungry all of a sudden. And I say that because during the pay-per-view, now, back when we were watching wrestling, you had like WCW or the NWA, the logo in the center of the ring. Not really WWF. They didn't really play around with the logos in the center of the ring. But so the only advertisement was normally if they showed the announcers or the commentators, if they were holding a product or something, a Coca-Cola bottle or something like that, that would be the plug. Or sometimes during right before the commercials hit, plug, huh? Sometimes before the commercials would go on, it would say, WrestleMania is brought to you by such and such, But watching Bad Blood over the weekend, there was so many freaking advertisements. You had the Prime bottle in the middle of the ring. You had, before it was the Prime bottle logo on all the corner pads. But now, and then they started doing advertisements on those corner light up things that they've been using now on the corner posts. It's another light up LED type bar type thing. But now even surrounding the ring, the back part where like if two wrestlers were to go outside the ring and then they would fight up against the barricade part, the barricade now is a light up, it's Wendy's. And, so they got all this stuff that, they're all these damn advertisers, if I can pronounce the damn word, they have so many of them now. So, and they just made I mean, they're going to make $1 billion off this Netflix deal, if not more. It's $500 million a year for 10 years, so it's billions of dollars they're making.
2.5.
So
No,
why?
Before they get that option to take it on to the 10 years. So 2.5 for 5 for 10.
that's
So why are they?
TKO for you. They do it with UFC all the time. They got advertisings on everything. It's money, money, money.
See, that's just crazy to me. I was telling my other son, I said, when I was your age, I was able to get floor seats. And to me that was expensive, but that was $100. Maybe it was like 75 or 85 or something like that. But we
Yeah,
used to be able to sit on the floor.
but a
For
candy bar was also a nickel.
oh fuck you. Uh, but it's just crazy how much they're charging for tickets nowadays, and some of it might be the Ticketmaster type of situation with the surge charge and the fees, because obviously they were a cheaper price when he looked at the tickets, but then after all the fees and taxes and everything,
Yeah.
it came out to about $100. And these weren't, really, really good seats. These were, the upper deck. But so I just wanted to start out with like, holy shit. I know they cut, or they are going, to cut down on their touring schedule, because they're supposed to go down to like 250 days a year, or 230, 250. I can't remember which one it was. Either way, it's going to be better for their wrestlers. But to me, it's just crazy. And a lot of our friends, a lot of the fellow wrestlers that we work with are going to be there tonight. And I'm hoping some of our fellow wrestlers are actually working the show, because normally when they come to town, whether it be WWE or AEW, some of the wrestlers find work, and they bring them in, and they either do security, or they're doing some sort of back stage segment, or sometimes they're wrestling and as extra wrestlers getting their ass beat or something, but uh, it was just something I wanted to start off with. It was like, who the fuck is paying these prices to go? I mean, obviously they're probably going to sell out tonight because it is Monday Night Raw, and that's like their flagship show. But
Well, it won't be me because I refuse to put money into a corporation that gives me so many problems. It's not happening.
that's true. They have gave us a few problems here late. Now, on the show, over the weekend, Bad Blood, there was a couple great matches on there. Everyone is talking about the last match was the Bloodline match. It had Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes versus what's that one guy's name? Was Silo or Sika or
Solo.
Solo? And then one of the Bloodline members came out with that, and so they had a lot of people interfere. The rest of the Bloodline came out, and then so Jimmy Uso came out as well, and that was kind of good to see him, because there were so many internet rumors about him having problems, or um, and some rumors said that he was even dead. So glad to see him and that he's back. But I don't think that was the best match of the pay-per-view. Honestly, I think the best match was the Hell in the Cell match. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. That match, I think, was great. And, most Hell in a Cell matches, thanks to Mick Foley and The Undertaker, even the very first one, Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, they were, some point in time, they made it to the top of the cage, and Shawn Michaels climbed down a little bit and then fell, where Mick Foley got thrown off. But even that, Mick Foley and Triple H, they were both on top of the Hell of the Cell. Oh yeah, so I just shot that over to you because I thought that was pretty cool. That's
It's
just
the Undertaker.
it's just a normal house, and it's decorated for Halloween, but it's got Paul Bearer and the Undertaker right there. I thought that was a pretty cool laugh.
And
But
one of the guys who made Rest in Peace.
yeah, there's a bunch of skeletons and everything in the background. I don't know if you can see it too clearly, but for a
Seems
Hell
like
in a
a
Cell
skeleton from
match,
the Evil Dead in the back. 2 of them from the Evil Dead.
there you go. But for a Hell in a Cell match where they didn't go outside, they didn't climb on top, it was a very good match, and they used everything that there was. They used the cage itself. They used the tools that put the ring together. Used the steel chair. Well, they used the tables. They used the steel stairs. Is what I was trying to say. And from the rumors is Drew McIntyre, when he got hit by the toolbox from CM Punk, that was a real big gash that came from that, and it was like 17 or 18 stitches that he received from that. But and CM Punk came out unhurt, which is very good for him, because here lately all of his matches he ends up getting hurt. But this is like 2 matches in a row now that he came out unscathed. Now he did have oxygen, come out to him, and he was sucking on some oxygen after the match. But he wasn't hurt. But I think hands down that was probably the best match. But the rumor that's going around, evidently Stephanie McMahon was seen backstage. Now, there's, one way you can say she's Triple H's wife. It's a big pay-per-view. Why wouldn't she be backstage? But evidently, there's some rumors going around, and you guys can YouTube this or TikTok it or whatever, but there was Cody Rhodes was on the McAfee show, and after the show was over, but someone still was filming, and he asked Cody, so I heard the boss is back, and Cody goes, which one? And he goes, well, you just said it there, right there, And some speculations was that Vince McMahon was weaseling his way back in the company, but that's not going to happen. TKO is like done with Vince McMahon. But the rumor is that Stephanie McMahon is actually going to be back in the WWE, and that they're keeping it hush hush right now because the whole her daddy thing is still out there, and there's kind of rumors going around that she knew about some of the abuse that her dad was doing to these other women. And so if that comes out, or if that is written in stone that she did, that's going to hurt her coming back. But and even Vince Russo, which was a WWE head writer for a while, WCW head writer, he's got his own podcast, and he thinks the same, that Stephanie McMahon is back in the fold in WWE. But I don't know what your guys' opinion on that is, but I would think they would want to keep that hush hush until after after the Vince McMahon trial and everything else is going on.
Yeah, I'd imagine under wraps is their best option.
Well,
see how it all plays out in court.
Everyone's got to understand that even if she's not back in the company, she's still Triple H's wife.
Yeah.
So she's still going to have probably some input of how the company's direction is, or at least storylines, and she was part of this, the storyline portion of the company. So either way, you would think he would listen to her if she has something to say. But I just think it was crazy that the room around is that she's back.
I just want to point out to everybody that you heard it here first. The Texan thinks Triple H is a simp for him.
Well,
He'll do what she tells him to do.
what's the saying? Happy wife, happy life.
I say she could tell him what to do from a phone call without being there.
Right. All right. So I guess we'll continue with the bad news and go into Bobby D's match. What do you say? You want to watch this thing?
Bring it on.
Let's frame this thing.
So, I mean, there you got a really good looking guy up there.
Yes, everybody, this is the roaming camera.
Now, one thing I would say is at least you didn't hold it long. You know, you didn't have a year long holding of this belt before it gets taken away. You know, you won it pretty quick, and it was, you know, well, it was exactly a week ago when you won it from at the racetracks. And what's shocking to me is because I had the first match at the racetracks, so I was back in the locker room when everything else was going on, and I didn't even realize you won the belt. And literally until last week's podcast, when I seen you putting it up on the display, I was like, "Holy shit, he won that belt back!"
Yep, only 3-time Central States champion.
Oh, there you go.
Yep. I had to update your profile.
I knew with Glenn I could out wrestle him. Like, that's not even a question. Like, technique wise, just straight up grappling. Yeah.
You know, the cool part about your match, one of the cool parts, is at one point I was in the locker room and Herb was in a separate room watching the video feed. And he made it a point to go into the dressing room and get me so I can come out there and watch this match in the separate room because your chops was just so freaking loud that Herb was like enjoying it, and he wanted to spread the enjoyment and get me to watch it.
Well, I was hoping to chop his spirit out so that it'd be an easier way.
A little bit
And
of
there's
Canadian zero
John
help.
Vincent putting his nose where it doesn't belong, as he does later in the match.
For our agreement, people, we can't show the whole thing for another week and a half. That's why you're going to see skipping.
As you see right there, Glenn's holding his chest still.
Well, look at his chest. It's red as hell.
I'm going to say at the tapings the next day, you could see a good cut down his chest. But I chopped him hard enough.
Looked like your forehead hit, but you didn't grab your head.
No, it was kind of like a shoulder, and then he just gives a really good running boot there. He's got some talents. Like, I don't take that away from him.
I do.
I knew I could grapple him.
That one move he just did is his only move.
I don't know. He hits. I think that was it right there. Flying shoulder tackle. Like, he's got a lot of mass behind him too.
Yeah, but this is one of my favorites here.
You got to pay homage to Undertaker. We just showed skeleton Undertakers.
Nice. That would hurt my tailbone though. I try not to do that anymore. So close, almost with the victory there.
And yeah, we'll be posting a short of the chop match.
Yeah, there's another one of them little flying burrito, bowling ball, whatever he is.
The flying cannoli.
I don't think he's Italian.
No, it's just squishy.
Flying gingerbeard.
There we
I don't
go.
know.
There's another one.
According to Glenn, his lariat's better than Jim, so
He did practice it for a long time, but it didn't work out so well when he tried to use it on him.
Right. There's a bunch of people that claims their lariat are better than my lariat is. Well, their lariat is better than mine, because Waco does that too. Where he actually calls it out better than Texan's lariat is what he calls it.
I don't think it pans out for him often though.
No,
That's the
just like
first time I
Glenn.
ever done the top rope belly to belly. That worked out pretty well. Have to pull that one out a little bit more.
I don't know. Now you can say you got belly to belly with a guy.
Like you said, that was the first time he did it off the top rope, not the
There you
first
go.
belly to
See,
belly.
Strax
Oh,
the
that's
Ref, there's a clear tap out there.
yeah,
Winning
that's
my
clear.
title. Or defending my title.
Pretty good phone save right there, though.
Not only that, you see here, foot's in the ropes.
Yep.
Oh my God, that is clearly not a win.
We had multiple camera angles of that. But the SICW rules. Well, the
No
ref
wins
said
every place.
goes, no matter what.
Now, if I remember correctly, the last time that I actually wrestled, not the last time I wrestled Peyton, but there was a match that I did with Peyton where he kind of got his foot close to the rope, and his manager bitched and complained until he got a rematch. Still didn't, help him out at all for the next go around, but clearly you should have a rematch for that Central States.
Well, being the champion and losing it, you get your automatic rematch anyway. So there's no doubt I'm going to get my rematch.
Good.
Maybe the first four-timer bringing some gold back.
Yeah. And if that doesn't work out, I guess I'll go after the classic heavyweight champion.
Oh. Well, you've wrestled Kowalski a lot. You know how to handle him. Hopefully, you get better stipulations that I got.
I don't know if I've wrestled Kowalski since he's had Lucky, though.
No.
When we had our feud, he wasn't with Lucky yet. That's
But
a whole other animal there.
he's probably added another 50 pounds to his weight, too, since you wrestled him.
That's weekly.
Here's a mountain of a man, 459. Is that now?
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy. But before we get into mine, let's talk about the main thing that we were talking about that last week's episode that we talked about, which was
You want to do
the
this one?
contract signing. Now, we don't have to show this whole thing. You can probably keep it running while we're talking about it. But, we were all thinking, and it almost started this way, that the contract was going to be about signing over the rights of SICW. And like I said, it almost went that route. But then there was another contract that was slid out there as well. That is going to be for both November shows, basically. So what it is what eventually Herb signed was a contract, basically giving the rights away to SICW if his team loses. So what this is going to be is there's going to be a team of Stephen E guys, and there's going to be a team of SICW, basically Herb Simmons guys. Now, so it's going to be on Herb's team. Clearly, it's going to be Gary Jackson. He is one of the lifetime members, basically, of SICW, and very much deserving. He won, 2 awards this year: the Sam Mushnick Award for SICW, and he won the Independent Men's Wrestler Award for the CACs. So clearly, he's in there. But then, as of late, we've been seeing a lot of Danny Boy, and we had Danny Boy on the podcast. And then another gentleman by the name of Ron Powers. So that is going to be Team SICW. And, Stephen E. and Travis Cook, they were, kind of backpedaling on this offer. They didn't know if they were going to do it or not. But then eventually they came up with the conclusion that they would go ahead and do this match. And on their team, they announced, of course, it's going to be Attila Kahn. But they announced Haku is going to come back because he's under contract with Stephen E. Of course, he switched to the dark side, if you would, last month or two ago when he came out and attacked Danny Boy and pretty much helped everyone put a beat down on me and Bobby and everyone else that came out to help. But what they announced as well, now back in WCW, there was a tag team called Faces of Fear. And it was Haku and his partner, the Barbarian. So they announced that team is coming back. So on Stephen E's side, it's going to be Attila Kahn, Haku, and the Barbarian.
Which they're now calling the Faces of Death.
There you go. So that is going to be the match for November 23rd, I think. 22nd or 23rd.
Well, the 23rd, but then there's the, what did you guys call it? There's a setup match for the rules for the 23rd on the 2nd.
Right. That's where I was going to lead that to.
Oh,
So that's going to be the 23rd. That's going to be the match. Now, on the 2nd of November, there's going to be a special match that the winner of that match gets to pick a stipulation or a clause, I guess you would say. We don't know what those clauses or that stipulation is, and I'm sure each team is going to have their own one that they want to put in there. But I forgot what they call this match, but it's basically...
Did they call it a cactus match?
A what?
What is it, a cactus match is what Herb called it?
Cactus match, yeah. It had a weird name to it, but basically it's a flag match, basically. And it's kind of taking it off of like boxers. You in a boxer ring, if your manager or your corner boss thought you had taken too bad of an ass whooping, they would throw in a towel, which would make you basically forfeit or give up. And so that's what this match is going to be based off of.
Yeah, like when Bret Hart had to give up to Shawn Michaels because he took too much damage.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon threw in the towel so he didn't keep getting hurt.
Okay, yeah. Otherwise known as a screw job, but we'll go with that.
Look, John Vincent has me a little geared towards Canadians, okay?
I understand.
Well, I predict kind of a screw job coming on the 2nd as well. I think it's going to be stacked against our favor on the 23rd, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, hopefully both teams are there, and they can kind of handle the situation as need be. But so Gary Jackson versus Attila is going to happen on November 2nd. Now, basically the captain for Gary Jackson is going to be Danny Boy, and the captain for Attila is going to be Stephen E. Now, each captain will have a white towel, or it could be a flag, who knows. But if they feel that the person that they're sponsoring or managing that night can't go on, receive too much damage, or quit like Bret Hart did, their captain can throw this towel in, or not throw it in, they're going to wave it. And that's going to end the match. And whoever's manager, of course, waves the towel or the flag, that team will forfeit and the other team will win.
You know what worries me most about that is we've had Danny Boy on here. We know he's got a good guy with a big heart. Stephen A.E. is ruthless. He doesn't give two craps about anything besides a paycheck. So which one do you think is going to look out for their guy more than the other? Like, he doesn't care if Attila gets hurt.
Right. Because he's already got the match with the Faces of Fear, the same month. So it's going to be very interesting. But at least, I guess, it takes it out of Herb's hands. Because Herb is the one that signed this contract.
What is that?
What?
What's that noise?
My dog walking around.
Your dog? It's loud.
Finally, it's his dogs.
Yeah.
I booted my two big ones out tonight, so hopefully.
She needs her nails trimmed.
That I'm halfway listening to you guys because I'm watching the footage.
Well,
reliving that night.
I started watching it, there, but I tell you, it went on for like 30 minutes, so it was kind of crazy and long, and I was preparing for my own match, but I was
a little pissed off for my match at this point.
To me,
I was getting a headache at this point because of what they did to the building so far.
To me, having this match is a lot better than Herb just signing away. Signing away SICW. It gives
like I
us
said, he
boys.
needs to come speak to us first before he does that. We need to be able to make an offer as well. So we can build it up and we can kick WWE's ass.
That's at least a chance to keep it status quo.
Right.
Status quo with a bump.
So hopefully the SICW boys can rally up and win both of these matches. The one on the second to give us the stipulation that they want. Gary, Ron, and Danny Boy to have that advantage, I guess you would say, going into the match on the 23rd. Both of these shows are going to be at the Belleville Fairgrounds. As a matter of fact, the second is going to be the first. Well, it's going to be the next time we're at the Belle Claire Fairgrounds. Now, we're going to be on the road for the next couple days, couple weeks, because we have a show this Thursday at what we call the MAC, and it's a beautiful place. High-end people, doctors, lawyers, and sports people are going to be there.
The cars, the blues, the ones of the Battlehawks that can afford it because they don't get the paycheck like the other ones do. But.
Right. So, going to be probably some of the Cardinals or something like that that's going to be there. The last two times, the guy, I forgot his name, but used to be like a diehard hockey fan too for a while, and me and Amy would go to a lot of hockey games, and this guy would always sing the national anthem, and he was great at it. And I think he's since retired from the blues, but the last 2 years they brought him out to the MAC show so he can open the show singing the national anthem, and that was always very cool. But you never know who you're going to run into. So definitely cool.
In this footage, for a lot of the people who don't know, the one with the camera on the other end is Mark. He's a professional photographer that comes in. You have Herb, you have Jason, Herb's son. You have Andy on the other end, which is another professional photographer, Ramblin' Hamlin. And then you have, I don't remember his name, but that's Herb's attorney. And then Dr. Drew. And then the county commissioner is sitting beyond there to give extra support for the SICW.
Yep. So, like The MAC is this Thursday, and then we're in Fairmont
Which,
City this Saturday.
I say for Thursday, we have the opportunity to weaken Attila a little bit before that stipulation match.
Yeah, it's true. So it's going to be me and Bobby versus Attila and Peyton that night. So we can do our part on awakening, team. What'd you call it?
Faces of
Faces of
Death,
Death.
but I don't think Peyton's part of Faces of Death. I think that was just
No, but
Attila and then Haku and Barbarian.
he's still in that club of Devastation Inc. So
Yeah.
to me, it's the same thing. So if we can get our hands on Attila and get him a little weakened for Gary for the second, but even before the second, we have so many shows. We got Fairmont City this Saturday. That's the return show. We normally hit that one up once a year. And one of our mutual friends that we had on the podcast is going to be headlining that show, I think. And that is, what do you
El
call it?
Diablo.
El Diablo. I
El
was thinking
Diablo.
double. But yeah, so he is returning for this show. So El Diablo, if you're watching this, man, I hope you kick some ass that night. He's always high energy and got that luchador style going. And the people at Fairmont City really love him. So I think this is his third time coming back. Yeah, the last 2 years I think he's been there, and then this year will make his third time. So we got that one. We got one in Breeze. I think that's October the 26th.
And that's to help. I don't know if I ever mentioned this on the podcast, but that's actually one of my former wrestlers at the Little Devils goes there, and his dad started a wrestling program last year. And so a lot of the wrestling match, singlets, warm-ups, all of that he was doing out of pocket. So this is to help raise money to get all of that stuff for them this year.
Yeah, so kind of like the same stuff that we do for the Little Devils. We added another one this year for Breeze to help out those wrestlers. So yeah, a couple of great shows coming up, which is
Yeah,
going to lead
everybody
us.
needs to come out to help with those kids, give them something to do.
Right, and that's kind of in the area. I don't know how close it is to Sandoval, but
About halfway in between Belleville and Sandoval.
hopefully we don't have the same conspiracy dealing with some signs being removed. Um,
I
you
don't
know,
know.
because
Is that guy's house still standing?
all I'm saying is these extra shows, they're sponsorship shows, they're shows to help kids, and there's no reason to tamper with other promotions stuff. If they wanted you, they would have had you, but they chose not to. They chose to have us come through. So,
Well, especially like try to peek back behind the curtain without too many details here. SICW gets paid a certain amount. At that point, you're only hurting the high schools there or whoever you're doing, like, because they're the ones making all the profit there to help their programs. So, like, we're already paid. Like, you don't hurt us. You're hurting literally the school, the organization, the kids.
right.
Yeah, and we're only paid at cost. There's no money being made as far as the organization goes. You're only hurting the kids. And if you want to get a bunch of guys that can hurt you really pissed off, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
To hurt.
Right, precisely. So hopefully none of that stuff takes place. Hopefully it's a great show. And from what I heard, they have a lot of sponsors that bought tables already, and they
Yeah, I
think
was
they're
talking
already.
to Brian. Brian Walsh is the guy that set it all up. I was talking with him, and they had already sold 12 of their 250 tables and like 5 of their $400 tables. And then I know my brother just got a 250 table from him on top of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it looks like they're already in the green, and hopefully we can just continue that as we come closer to that date. But yeah, so it's going to be a hell of a few weeks for us. So if you want to see SICW wrestling, again, go to sicw.org. They have all the dates, the times, places, so you guys can figure out where you want to come and see us at. But yeah, definitely cool. So that leads us to the other bad news.
Just to your match and the closing out of the show to stick to our hour. So you're going to be closing out the program, Jim, with your match.
No, that's horrible. So just
We'll be
go.
copywritten for that. So I got to attempt that.
So just the stipulations of this match. This was a Falls Count Anywhere, no DQ, plus Lucky P. Larson, which is Kowalski's manager, was handcuffed to the ring. Now,
Who was he handcuffed by? Who handcuffed him?
Our friend Shaft.
Yes.
Shaft. You're damn right.
Now, I knew this was going to be a very hardcore style match. When there's no DQ and Falls Count Anywhere, there's no telling what can be used or done, and I'm sure we'll skip through this.
There's the man right there, Shaft.
But there you are. So we're just going to begin starting it out. There's Shaft handcuffing Lucky P. Now,
I had to show it. I'm sorry. I just thought it was funnier than else. So I had to show it. But Lucky P bitching and complaining. You're hurting me. You're hurting me.
Oh, he does have a broken arm.
Yeah, I'm pretty much going to say that's probably like a Bob Orton Jr. broken arm by now.
A perennial broken arm.
Right. So, yeah, so this was, a big back and forth match. I'm not close. I mean, I'm pretty close to his weight. He's weighing 450. I'm under 400. But it's still two big guys going at it. And I took, the liberties, Falls Count Anywhere. I put him, tried to put him through a table, but didn't quite go as well. I literally had him laying on a table, climbed to the top of, originally it was going to climb to the top, but last second I was like, no, this is too close to the fans. So if something were to happen, that table fly up into the fans, I didn't want any of them to get hurt. So I turned around.
That last table previously, I was hoping you would put a birthday cake in his face because that's where the birthday party was.
But yeah, so I did jump off the ring onto Kowalski, onto the table, but literally it like bounced me right back up, and I ended up standing up.
Goes to show you we do not have pre-cut tables like everybody assumes.
Right. I did
that held
manage...
a 450-pound guy plus your big ass going on it.
Right. Now, I did manage to put him through the table at one point because I was able to lean it up against the wall and literally throw him into the table. And finally, that sucker gave. Now, right before this, I know we're cutting, slicing through here, but my right knee has a habit of not giving out, but it like locks. And I've had it with the other knee before, and I had the surgeries on it because what it is the cartilage is loose inside there, wraps around the front of the knee and locks it. And I literally fell as I was walking because my cartilage, I guess, locked my knee, and I fell. So he took advantage of that and actually started beating on that knee and lifting me up and slamming into the concrete and everything else.
I'm not laughing at your pain. I'm smiling and laughing at all the kids that just followed you everywhere.
Oh
They
yeah.
have no fear anymore.
Now I was
Well,
kind
I'm
of
sure if
hoping
Kowalski
on
was
that
on top right
pin.
now, they have a little more fear.
I was kind of hoping with that pin, me. I took the extension cord and wrapped around his throat. And I was trying to get him to pass out so I can score an easy pin, but that didn't work.
Even more to the point on what Bobby was saying, this is an audio visual table, so it is definitely not pre-cut because that shit cost way too much to put on those tables.
Right. Go ahead and skim through this since I already talked about it, and if they want to see it, they can see it on SICW TV. But it definitely was in your face for all the fans. I mean, they were all scattered. This is yeah, you can show this part. This is the part where I actually was able to get him to go through the table by launching him over there.
Dr. Drew's running for his life.
Well, I'm sure he was scared. Just like Andy, the ref, at one point I was, frustrated with him too, because to me, he was slow counting. He might have been regular counting. There was one part where I had to tell him to get down there and count, and I think it was this part coming up, because I grabbed Kowalski, he started coming up, so I literally kick his legs back out from under him and throw him back down, and then I pulled him and the whole table came with it. So I got my foot right there. I was expecting him to come down there and get that 3 count, and he was standing there amazed by what was going on.
Sometimes you get caught up in the emotions of everything.
I don't know if he was caught up in the emotions or just caught up watching. Oh man, this match actually took a lot out of me. Now, so what
Well,
you
there's a
did
lot going to come out of you coming up here pretty soon.
for what we didn't show, I'll just talk about. Lucky P had
That's
that
why I took a lot
crowbar.
out of you. All that weight coming on you.
Lucky P had that crowbar and gave it to Kowalski, and he used that on me a few times. Now I thought I had this wrapped up here because I figure no DQ, falls count anywhere, and so the ref is telling me he's in the rope. I'm thinking, what does that have to do with falls count anywhere?
You can
And
still
then
have rope
Same
breaks.
thing I was thinking was, ropes don't matter.
right.
It's anybody.
They do in the ring.
To me, that was a bullshit call, and it was a second bullshit call because he made me move him, and then he was still able to reach and grab the rope. So to me, that I could have had that guy pinned, and I could have kept my title. So what you
Did you
didn't see
see?
also,
I said, you see Axe out there the whole time?
I didn't see
Or
Axe out there at all, but
just snuck right up.
he even had an extra guy come up, hand him another weapon, which was a steel briefcase. And I took one to the noggin, and it just laid me out. And then, Kowalski took me over to the corner and gave me his little finisher, and I was already done. He probably didn't even have to do that.
And unfortunately, the roaming cameraman decided to get a picture of Axe's ass instead of getting a full-on hit. That cam caught it from behind, but we missed the full frontal. We wanted the full Monty and only got the ass. What can I tell you?
So,
I think it works out.
I held that, and it was announced that night that I've held that title for 500 days, which we're not too sure if that was the longest title reign for the Classic Championship. Because there is one other reign that was a little bit longer, but that was through the COVID year that we didn't have a show. So it depends on how that falls. Um, how you
That
count.
doesn't count if you're not defending it.
Right. That's what I figured. So technically, I got the longest reign of the SICW Classic Championship.
And especially
So,
since I'm not going to mention any names and give him any advertising, but he didn't even come back to us after COVID.
right.
Definitely doesn't count.
Yeah, he ended up getting stripped from the belt because he didn't come back. Um,
And
yeah, so
I
that's
have no idea who that is. So
we'll tell you off camera. But yeah, so totally a terrible night for the good guys. You know, Bobby D lost his Central States Championship. I lost a Classic title. Um,
but we
you know
still
what?
have one gold on the program, though.
I still have one gold. I still have, I call it the red title, but it's the Shriners Championship, so I still have that title. But I
Which
defend
is
that.
also coming up.
You're right. I defend that in 2 weeks. I think that's on the 20th. So again, it's crazy that we have so many dates that we still have to fulfill this year. Kind of interested for this, kind of waiting for December to have that little month off, little break. Try to rest our injuries and doing some healing time. But it's also nice to be off the road and be with the family, you know, around Christmas break and everything, you know. But Bobby's probably not looking forward to that because then he'll have all 3 boys at home all day long for what it's
At
about 2
home,
weeks now.
they got training to do.
But it just means that you'll be taking them to training.
That's true. I get to yell at them there, though. It's stress relief.
Yeah, so there is at that particular show um, at the East St. Louis Lodge of the Shriners. That particular show, there's going to be a cage match. Now, we don't know who's in this cage. It hasn't been announced. Now, last year I did defend my belt against Axe Allwork in the cage. So I don't know if I'm going to be thrown into this cage one more time. Hopefully, it's not me. Hopefully, you know, I can do a one-on-one, you know, regular match and keep this title. Well, either way, I'm going to keep this one.
I
I'm going
volunteer as tribute to go in the cage against Glenn.
to. There you go. I don't know. Cage matches are great. I have a fun time working the cage. You know, did one with Axe. Did one with Steve Fender. You know, the best cage match I think I ever had was against Moondog. You know, that was a different company though, different time. But it was still a great match. Almost went almost an hour long. That cage match did. So great time. So yeah, if it is happen to be me, I'll throw that title on the line and see who my challengers are. Um, but yeah, a lot of shows coming up, and I know we're coming close to our hour long here, so I'll start heading up to the wrap. You know, I always bring in whatever I got or whatever I received for the week, and I do have something I received. Now, I bought this in a lot, so it was like 6 or I think it was 5 or 6 things, but I had I already had the 5 or 6 of them. There was one that I bought the lot for this one particular figure, and it was the LJNs, but the thumb wrestlers. I don't know if you guys remember the thumb wrestlers that you put on your thumb and
Yeah,
wrestle around with, but
I had some of those.
these things are so fragile, and some of them, just like the LJNs, are worth more than others. Now, so the common ones, you know, the Hulk Hogan, the Rowdy Piper, but there's some rare ones. There's Jake the Snake is like the most rarest one. That thing fetches like $350. But this other one that I bought fetches around 100, and I got the whole lot. I guess this guy didn't know what he had because I got the whole lot pretty cheap. But this is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is a very rare thumb wrestler, and I'm going to add it to my LJN collection here.
So I just had a Facebook memory when he came to SICW pop up today.
On my office wall, I have a lot of the pictures of the legends that has come through, and I would love for him to come through again because I have this very cool picture with him and my wife, of me, him, and my wife, and it was right after he explained what I should have done better in my match. This is a guy that, and I'm sure I've told this story before. This is a guy that was, highly respected in his heyday of wrestling, and just besides his heyday of wrestling, behind the scenes for the WWE, he was a mentor to a lot of wrestlers, and he would put together matches based on their skill level and everything like that. So to have this high caliber person actually, and I think he probably did it to everyone that night. So it was just probably drilled in him that he was going to watch all the show. But he literally watched my whole match and he picked it apart backstage. And it's so funny because most of the time when legends come in, you get cool ones where you can sit down and bullshit with them a lot. And there's some that kind of stay to themselves. You might shake his hand and say hi and thank you for coming in. But for the most part, they'll, stay to themselves. And then sometimes you have the ones that will actually watch the show and give feedback. But I remember walking from the ring back into the locker room area, not thinking about Ricky being there. I'm thinking about the match and getting undressed because it's so hot. After you wrestle, you're sweating and everything. You want to get your gear off, and for him to pull me aside and say, "Hey, before you get changed, let me tell you a few things about your match." I didn't even think he was even watching the match, but to have him pull me to the side and say, "Hey, this is what you need to do. This is how you can get there." That was just incredibly cool to me. And then someone
So
snapped the picture.
you
Yeah.
didn't stop him and say, "Hold on, son, I'm busy. I'll be there in a minute."
Dude, I sure didn't. But someone snapped a picture and sent me the copy of it, and so that hangs on my wall. My first match that I had with a legend, which is Greg the Hammer Valentine, is on my wall. Of course, me and Bob and me and Tony Atlas, when we um, had our tag match with me and Frankie D versus those two, that picture is on my wall. Of course, it's all autographed by him. Um, and then I got Larry Manisic, a picture of me and him on the wall, me, Larry, and Herb, stuff like that. And me and Hogan, it's autographed on the wall. So a lot of cool things that I've got. But I definitely got this thumb wrestler, even though it's just a simple little thumb wrestler. I got him very cheap, and I'm so fucking geeked and excited about it. Of course, everyone knows I'm still trying to collect the LJNs. I haven't got any more of those because what I have left are going to be the hard to find or very expensive ones. So, going to take me a little while to get those guys in. I mean, just the
Anybody
Haku.
watching, if you have LGNs, just send us an email and I'll give the emails to Jim and you can negotiate.
Oh, there we go, man. I was, I've been collecting, and sometimes you find like a Roddy Piper that you think looks good, and then you could find one or someone most of the time, like as soon as I buy one, another one comes up cheaper or in a lot that I buy, and then you got to look at them and see which one is better. So I got a few that I'm thinking about bringing to the shows and just selling those off, or even if the fans want to bring some, we can trade or do whatever. But the Haku figure alone, just loose, is $350, and I'm telling you, if it's in the package, you're talking about $3 or $4 grand. When me and Haku used to get along, he told me he had a few of those figures still in the package, and he gave one to every grandson So that way it can just sit there. And he told him you can't play with it, can't open it, and definitely not sell it until it's time for you to go to college. And he told him, he goes, by the time you go to college, those things are going to pay for your scholarship. And he's probably true. It's probably true. But yeah, so always trying to pick one up here and there, but we'll see if I ever succeed at getting all of them. But now, I talked about last week on how the week prior's podcast had done great. We had seen numbers that we hadn't seen in quite a while. Now, last week's numbers, the views wasn't as high as that one. So I kind of want to challenge the people that watch our show to spread the podcast. If you like the show, you watch it, share the show, with your Facebook group or your friends. Get the show out there, because I have some ideas for future episodes. So we'll see how this pans out, but we need subscribers, we need more views, so help us out, spread the knowledge of the show for us. So help us bring in other people and get this show on the road. And speaking of that, maybe we'll take this on the road. Nathan has built a nice little room for us too, and we have yet to all of us go over there and sit down and actually have a proper episode. But all things in the future look great for this show, but we need your help to get us there. So like, subscribe, share, comment, anything to help us out. It would be much appreciated. Plus, we're going to have some T-shirts coming out that you can buy at the SICW shows as well. And big plans, I guess you would say, we're trying to make happen. So it'll be great to have you guys behind us. Do you guys have anything else you want to share?
Well, I was going to say, since I didn't even think about it until I have some sitting right here, talk about your hauls. Every month I have a wrestling crate that comes in. So, like, right here, I got, like, my new Christian Cage shirt, Outwork Everyone. And then that's where I get these autographs that I change out every month or so. This one's Just Incredible. And then I don't have them next to me, but there's usually some little things that come with the crates as well. I can pull some of those out at next week's episode.
Definitely.
Yeah, whip it on out next week, folks.
I heard AEW's got a crate like that too, and then I heard that Pro Wrestling Tees does their own crate. Do you got one?
This one is just Pro Wrestling crate.
Okay.
And like, here's an autograph in this one. This is the one that came last time. Kyle O'Reilly.
There you go. That's cool.
Just hasn't made it in the frame yet.
Next week.
There you go. All right. So everyone from the Squared Ring podcast, we appreciate you. If you can help us out, that would be even better. But you guys have a good week. Well, I guess we'll have a good week because we're wrestling Thursday, we're wrestling Saturday. If you guys want to come out, next show that you guys can come out to is the Fairmont City this Saturday. Always. Holy Rosary Church. Was that what you were going to say?
No, I was going to say, or we're going to have a really sore week.
Right. Doors open at 6. Show starts at 7. It's always a great show. They always have great food at this show. Every year they seem to outdo themselves on the food. And last year they did a taco bar type situation where they made different types of tacos. We got a whole bunch of tacos for free. So hopefully we can get some free food again this weekend. It'd be great. But from everyone at the Squared Ring Podcast, you guys have a good night, and I'll see you guys later.
See you.